Karoline Leavitt appears on live television, ready to discuss the latest political developments. The host greets her with a polite but firm tone, introducing the topic at hand. Leavitt responds confidently, presenting her points with conviction. The discussion intensifies as the host challenges her statements, pushing back with sharp counter-arguments. Leavitt's expression shifts, her frustration growing as the host continues to press. Her voice rises, her composure slipping. She interrupts, her tone heated, accusing the host of bias. The host remains firm, attempting to regain control. Leavitt's emotions escalate, her words coming faster, her frustration boiling over. The host attempts to cut to a break, but Leavitt refuses to back down, her voice echoing through the studio. The segment ends abruptly, cameras capturing the stunned reactions. Social media erupts, clips spreading rapidly, viewers reacting with shock and debate. The meltdown dominates headlines, sparking discussions across platforms. Reactions pour in from all sides as the video spreads like wildfire. Supporters rally behind Leavitt, praising her for standing her ground against what they see as media bias. Critics, however, mock her outburst, calling it unprofessional and a sign of weakness. News outlets dissect every moment, replaying the clip in endless loops with expert panels weighing in. Memes flood social media, capturing her expressions and turning them into viral sensations. Late-night hosts poke fun at the incident, while political commentators debate whether this will hurt or boost her career. Leavitt releases a statement, doubling down on her stance and accusing the network of unfair treatment. The host responds, standing by their questioning and denying any agenda. The controversy deepens as more figures from both sides of the political spectrum chime in. Polls show a divided public. Some believe she was ambushed, while others see her reaction as a red flag. Invitations for follow-up interviews flood in, networks eager to capitalize on the viral moment. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, her team scrambles to control the narrative, weighing damage control against embracing the newfound attention. The network faces its own backlash, some viewers accusing it of provoking the meltdown for ratings. As days pass, the frenzy continues, but questions linger. Was this a moment of raw authenticity or a career-defining misstep? As the media firestorm rages on, Leavitt's team strategizes their next move. Advisors debate whether she should lean into the controversy, portraying herself as a fighter against media bias, or take a more measured approach to rebuild credibility. Some argue that the viral moment has only strengthened her base, turning her into a symbol of defiance against the mainstream media. Others worry that the meltdown could alienate undecided voters and political allies who value composure under pressure. Meanwhile, rival politicians seize the opportunity to weigh in. Some mock Leavitt's reaction, using it as an example of why she lacks the temperament for leadership. Others cautiously defend her, acknowledging the pressures of live television while subtly distancing themselves from her outburst. The host who clashed with Leavitt appears on another program, standing by their approach and dismissing accusations of bias. Clips of the debate continue circulating, fueling further speculation about whether Leavitt was intentionally provoked or simply lost control. Behind closed doors, Leavitt meets with key donors and supporters, assuring them that the moment was not a sign of weakness, but rather a passionate defense of her principles. Fundraising emails capitalize on the controversy, framing her as a political outsider unfairly, targeted by the media. Surprisingly, donations spike, proving that the incident has energized at least part of her base. As the days pass, the frenzy gradually shifts toward the next political controversy. But the impact of the meltdown lingers. Polling data offers mixed signals, Some numbers show a dip in her overall favorability, while others indicate a surge in support from conservatives who view her as a fighter. Leavitt ultimately decides to address the moment head-on in a high-profile interview, where she attempts to reframe the incident as proof of her passion and commitment to her values. The interview is carefully planned, her responses polished, but the question remains: will the public see her as a fearless warrior standing up against media manipulation, or as a politician who cracked under pressure? The answer could determine the trajectory of her career. As Karoline Leavitt prepares for her high-profile interview, anticipation builds. Supporters hope she will emerge stronger, while critics wait for another misstep. The interview airs in prime time, drawing millions of viewers eager to see how she handles the fallout. The host, known for their tough but fair questioning, starts by acknowledging the viral moment before asking Leavitt to reflect on her reaction. She takes a deep breath, maintaining a composed demeanor. Instead of apologizing, she reframes the ET meltdown as a passionate response to what she calls unfair treatment by the media. She insists that she will never back down from defending her beliefs, portraying herself as a fighter for the people. The host challenges her, playing clips of the original exchange and asking if she believes losing her composure was the right approach. Leavitt pivots, arguing that mainstream media thrives on silencing conservative voices and that her reaction was justified in the face of repeated interruptions and biased questioning. Meanwhile, social media lights up once again. Hashtags trend, with supporters praising her for standing her ground, and critics accusing her of avoiding responsibility. Conservative outlets rally behind her, turning the meltdown into a rallying cry against media bias. Liberal pundits argue that the incident exposed a deeper issue: whether Leavitt has the temperament for leadership. Political strategists analyze the fallout, debating whether this moment will define her career. Some believe it will strengthen her position among her base, proving she is unafraid to challenge the status quo. Others warn that mainstream voters, particularly independents, may view her as too reactive and unpredictable. As the days pass, the media storm begins to subside, but the incident leaves a lasting mark. Leavitt's name recognition skyrockets, and her fundraising numbers remain strong. However, questions linger about her ability to handle pressure in higher-stakes political battles. Her team sees an opportunity to build on the momentum, scheduling more interviews and public appearances where she can control the narrative. The meltdown, once seen as a liability, is now being reframed as a defining moment in her political evolution. Whether it cements her as a rising conservative star or haunts her future ambitions remains to be seen. Karoline Leavitt's team moves quickly to turn the viral moment into a long-term political advantage. They organize rallies, where she is met with enthusiastic crowds who see her as a warrior against media bias. She leans into this image, delivering fiery speeches about standing up to the establishment and refusing to be silenced. Conservative media outlets amplify her message, framing her as a victim of unfair attacks. Merchandise appears online, shirts and hats with slogans like "Fighter, not a puppet," and "Silenced but strong," selling rapidly among her supporters. Behind the scenes, Leavitt's political advisors monitor polling data carefully. While her support among conservatives remains strong, her appeal to moderates is less certain. Some independent voters express concerns about her temperament, wondering if she can handle high-pressure situations without losing control. Her team works to soften her image in select media appearances, emphasizing her intelligence and policy expertise rather than just her combativeness. Meanwhile, her opponents use the meltdown as ammunition. Attack ads surface, featuring clips of her outburst, questioning her leadership qualities. Opposing politicians mock her on social media, suggesting that she is too emotional for serious political office. Liberal commentators argue that if a male politician had reacted the same way, the fallout would have been far worse. As the next election cycle approaches, Leavitt's campaign makes a bold move. She challenges one of her critics to a live debate. The invitation is widely publicized, fueling speculation about whether her opponent will accept. When the debate is confirmed, excitement builds, with both sides eager to see how she will handle the pressure. On debate night, Leavitt walks onto the stage with a confident smile. The audience watches closely, looking for any sign of the temper that made her go viral. The moderator wastes no time, referencing the infamous meltdown and asking her how she has grown since that moment. She takes a deep breath and delivers a practiced response. "That moment wasn't my finest, but it showed my passion." And passion is what we need in leadership.
Throughout the debate, she remains composed, countering attacks with measured responses and strategic humor. Her team breathes a sigh of relief. She has learned from her mistakes. By the end of the night, political analysts declare it a strong performance, a sign that she has turned the page on the viral incident. In the days that follow, her campaign surges in fundraising and media coverage. The meltdown that once threatened to define her career has now become a pivotal turning point. Whether it propels her to higher office or remains a cautionary tale in political history is a question only time will answer. As Karoline Leavitt's debate performance earns her praise, her campaign capitalizes on the momentum. Her team floods social media with clips of her strongest moments, carefully edited to highlight her composure, wit, and command of policy. Conservative media outlets celebrate her as a fighter who has grown stronger under pressure, while even some mainstream analysts acknowledge her improvement. With her credibility somewhat restored, Leavitt embarks on a nationwide tour, attending town halls, fundraising events, and media interviews. At every stop, she strikes a balance between fiery rhetoric that energizes her base and a more disciplined, statesman-like approach aimed at winning over moderates. Her slogan evolves. What once was a defense against media bias transforms into a broader message about standing strong against political elites. Despite her resurgence, opposition forces are not done with her. New attack ads surface, resurrecting the viral meltdown and framing it as a sign of instability. Late-night comedians continue mocking her, reinforcing doubts among skeptical voters. A prominent political opponent challenges her to another debate, hoping to reignite old doubts about her temperament. This time, Leavitt is ready. The night of the debate, she walks on stage with confidence, determined to prove that her viral moment was an exception, not a pattern. When the moderator inevitably brings up the incident, she responds with a mix of humor and self-awareness, diffusing tension. Her performance is sharp, calculated, and effective. By the end of the debate, even some critics admit that she has successfully reshaped her image. In the final weeks leading up to the election, polls show a tightening race. Leavitt's name recognition has skyrocketed, and her campaign is seeing record-breaking donations. But questions remain. Has she truly convinced undecided voters that she is more than just a viral sensation? Election night arrives, and the nation watches closely as results pour in. The early numbers suggest a competitive race, with both sides claiming confidence. Hours pass, tension builds, and finally the outcome is announced. Whether she emerges victorious or falls short, one thing is clear. Karoline Leavitt has cemented herself as a force in American politics, proving that even the most infamous political moments can be transformed into opportunities. As the election results unfold, Karoline Leavitt watches with her team, anxiously tracking each district's numbers. The race is razor-thin, with both sides claiming momentum. Social media erupts with speculation. Some predict a shocking victory for Leavitt, while others believe the final precincts will tip against her. News anchors analyze exit polls, discussing whether her viral meltdown-turned-redemption arc was enough to push her over the finish line. Finally, in the early hours of the morning, the results are declared. If she wins, her supporters erupt in celebration, chanting her name as she steps onto the stage to deliver a triumphant victory speech. She frames her win as proof that voters want bold, unapologetic leadership, vowing to take on the political establishment with renewed strength. If she loses, she delivers a concession speech that, while gracious, hints at a political future beyond this race. This is not the end, she tells her supporters, promising to keep fighting. Regardless of the outcome, Leavitt's political brand is now bigger than ever. Pundits debate what's next for her. Will she run again in the next election cycle? Will she be tapped for a key role in a rising political movement? Some speculate about a future Senate run, or even a bid for higher office.
Meanwhile, opponents and media critics continue to scrutinize her. Some dismiss her rise as a product of viral sensationalism rather than real leadership. Others argue that her ability to recover from a public meltdown proves her resilience. Memes and clips of her infamous moment still circulate. But now, they are part of a larger narrative, one of transformation, perseverance, and reinvention. In the weeks that follow, Leavitt's name remains in the headlines. She appears on major talk shows, reflecting on her journey and hinting at her next move. Supporters eagerly await an announcement, while political insiders debate her long-term viability. One thing is certain, whether as a victorious officeholder or a political firebrand planning her next comeback, Karoline Leavitt is no longer just a viral moment. She is a force to be reckoned with, and the political world will be watching her every step. As the dust settles from the election, Karoline Leavitt's next moves become the subject of intense speculation. Whether she won or lost, one thing is clear. She has built a powerful brand and a devoted following. Political strategists from both sides analyze her trajectory, with some seeing her as the future of a rising populist movement, while others dismiss her as a media-driven phenomenon unlikely to sustain long-term influence. Leavitt wastes no time capitalizing on her momentum. She embarks on a nationwide speaking tour, appearing at major conservative conferences, grassroots rallies, and high-profile fundraising events. Her speeches blend policy discussions with personal anecdotes about overcoming media bias and political attacks. The viral meltdown, once a potential career ender, is now reframed as a pivotal moment that shaped her resilience. At the same time, rumors swirl about her next steps. Will she seek a higher office, challenge an incumbent, or position herself as a media personality? Some speculate she could be a top contender for a Senate seat in the next election cycle. Others believe she might align herself with a major political figure, potentially angling for a cabinet position or a role in a presidential campaign. Her critics, however, are not done with her. Investigative reports scrutinize her past statements, financial dealings, and political alliances. Late-night hosts continue to poke fun at her, while opposition groups run ads reminding voters of her past controversies. Leavitt remains defiant, using every attack to fuel her base and reinforce her image as an outsider, taking on the establishment. Behind closed doors, political power brokers take notice. Some see her as an asset, an energetic, media-savvy figure who can rally younger voters and grassroots conservatives. Others worry about her unpredictability, questioning whether she has the discipline for higher office. As she weighs her options, Leavitt releases a cryptic social media post. "The fight is just beginning, stay tuned." The message sends her supporters into a frenzy, with speculation running wild about a major announcement. Will she announce a run for Senate? Launch a political action committee? Join forces with a presidential contender? The political world waits in anticipation. Whatever comes next, one thing is certain: Karoline Leavitt is not fading away. She has turned a single viral moment into a lasting political presence, and the road ahead is just beginning. Months after her viral moment and the election that followed, Karoline Leavitt stands at a crossroads. Her political brand is stronger than ever, but the path forward remains uncertain. After weeks of speculation, she finally steps onto a stage, before a packed crowd and cameras broadcasting live across the nation. The energy in the room is electric as she delivers a speech that will define the next chapter of her career. She thanks her supporters, acknowledges the challenges she has faced, and makes a bold declaration. "This movement is bigger than me. It's about every American who feels unheard, underestimated, and ready to take back their country." Whether she announces a new campaign, a leadership role in a rising movement, or a step back to reassess her future, her words leave no doubt. She is here to stay. As she walks off stage, reporters scramble to analyze the impact of her announcement. Supporters celebrate, critics dissect, and the media speculates on what her decision means for the future of politics. Love her or hate her, Karoline Leavitt has left an undeniable mark. The viral moment that once threatened to end her career has instead propelled her into the national spotlight. Now, whether as a candidate, a commentator, or a movement leader, her journey continues. The fight she spoke of is far from over. And as the political landscape shifts, one thing is certain: Karoline Leavitt will be a name people remember. Hey everyone! If you love amazing content about forgotten legends, history, and fascinating stories, make sure to check out Famous Forgotten. Like the videos to show your support. Subscribe to stay updated with new uploads. Turn ED on notifications so you never miss an epic story. Join the community and help bring forgotten stories back to life.